Well, thank you all. It's such a pleasure to be here in this round table among with several very important scholars. And well, in the very beginning, I thought I could continue the work I presented in EPSA last year. But given what's happening in Brazil, and it's a round table about democracy, I thought the most significant contribution I could give at this very particular moment is try to explain what's happening in Brazil. As you probably know, a far-right populist former military, actually, he was expelled from the army, was elected president last year in Brazil. He built his campaign based on traditional right-wing moralization and anti-corruption and used massively WhatsApp and the so-called new social media during his campaign, and is still using, mainly based on fake news and attack to his opponents. The kind of discourse and campaign is not a coincidence. Mr. Bolsonaro, the president, says publicly that Donald Trump is his idol and source of inspiration. His political platform and administration are mainly based on ideological issues in a way you've never ever seen before in Brazil, even during the civil-military dictatorship in 1964-1985. His political platform and his political program is a mix of conservative morality. He is indeed homophobic and racist and so on, and an anti-communist discourse denouncing the country, even entrepreneurs and sectors of the armed forces are dominated by what he and his supporters used to call cultural Marxism. They are particularly interested on universities that are, according to them, the main source of the communism in the country. Well, as you can imagine, there's no room for communism in Brazil nowadays. It's a sort of discourse of fear. Indeed, he ordered an important university budget cut in the last days, about 30% of the budget besides personnel, but including facilities, research, and so on. And his particular aiming to humanities and social sciences. On the other hand, he doesn't have the support he expected from the Congress, and his popularity is quickly collapsing. Besides, his son, a senator, is being accused of corruption by the public persecutors. Important to say, Brazil is politically very stable. To have an idea, since 1930, we had 20 presidents, and just 4 were elected and finished their mandates. And, even more important, we have a very authoritarian and anti-democratic political culture. Well, as in many other countries, Brazilians support democracy. They are indeed used to vote on it and so on. But we don't not support democratic values, just the word and some procedure, as Pipa just said. This phenomenon is what Marcelo Baqueiro, an important Brazilian political scientist, calls inertial democracy, using the image of inertial inflation. That is, we are acquainted to democracy, but we don't really believe in it, mainly because of an asymmetry between political and economic systems, advanced democratic procedures, but a large inequality, and the political institutions are unable to transform social demands in public policies, what decreases even more the institutional confidence. To finish the brief talk, I'd like to comment some of the events occurred in Brazil last week. I don't know if you are acquainted, know something about this. Due to this real attack to the universities, and also the project to virtually dismantle the public welfare system, other important issue, but I have no time to talk about it right now. Students in other sectors of society marched in about 220 cities in Brazil. We are talking of 150,000 in Rio de Janeiro, 250,000 in Belo Horizonte, 250,000 in São Paulo, and so on. The government not only attacked the protesters, Mr. Bolsonaro himself called them useful idiots, meaning they are nothing but pawns to the leftists, but also increased threats against society and the democracy itself. Repeating an old conspiracy discourse, you know, they use that. Mr. Bolsonaro tweeted a long text for an unknown author, as he said, saying the country is moving to, quoting, an irreversible institutional breakdown, and mentioning, quoting, the government will be dehydrated until it dies of starvation, with victory for the corporations. It didn't explain what these corporations are. It's quite similar, by coincidence or not, to the note the former president, Jânio Quadros, wrote just before his renounce, what opened the path to the 1964 military coup d'etat. To finish, different from what's happening in the US and Europe, I believe Brazil is not facing a cultural backlash because we've never been there, but an eruption of a hidden and deep-rooted cultural support for anti-democratic practices and governments. In other words, Brazil experienced the political manifestation of an authoritarian and anti-democratic cultural pattern, which was being contained by the pro-democracy sentiment lived in the end of the dictatorship. In 1985, we have this huge movement to support democracy. And after that, by distributive public policies that have been made by progressive governments, such as those of Fernando Henrique Cardoso, Lula, and Dilma. It seems that this cycle is over. So I'm afraid I'm not giving the news about Brazil. I think that all the world must pay attention to what's happened down there, because probably we'll see a laboratory for how a democracy that is not exactly strong, but people are acquainted to in this phenomenon called inertial democracy can collapse. Thank you very much.